Hello, everyone. My name is TV. Thank you for tuning into the Dallas Marketing Rockstar podcast. Today, I have the none other than Mr. Chuck Kobdish of BackMenders. I'll have him tell you more about his business and ultimately the point of this podcast today, which is the secret to effective networking. Chuck's been able to build an incredibly popular, incredibly valuable group here in East Dallas called East Dallas Networking. Personally, he is now one of my best friends. I don't know if he knows this, but I consider him a really good friend. Our families know each other. And it all happened because one day I happened to roll into East Dallas Networking and fell in love with the group, fell in love with what you were doing there, and consistently and continued since then to be involved in the group. And because of the group personally, it was the first real big upswing in business that I had because I decided to go there and continued to show up. Right. Even though the first 6 to 8 months I wasn't getting any business at all, but I was building those beautiful, valuable relationships. Mm-hmm. So Chuck, do me a favor and tell me about yourself. Give me the short story.
Well, of course, you know the short story, but you know Sonia, of course, my beautiful wife. We just celebrated 17 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Yes, we've been together for a good while now, and I'm very fortunate for that. We've got two beautiful kids, Emmy and Charlie, 13 and 8 respectively. They keep us quite busy, but
I don't know how you do it, frankly.
I don't know how we do it either.
Incredibly active kids.
I don't know how we do it either, but we make it work. From Dallas, grew up here, Lake Highlands graduate. Sonny and I bought our home here in East Dallas back in '99 or 2000, and just fell in love with East Dallas proper, and just very passionate about all things East Dallas.
Yes, absolutely. When did just to jump into the networking piece? When did you decide to start the networking or to create East Dallas Networking?
It was truly done out of necessity.
Sounds familiar. I hear that a lot.
I had to. I opened up this office in June of 2008 and had no business, no patience. Had to get patients quickly. I, being rather personable, I wanted to just really
say that about you.
I just wanted to get into networking. Print media, certainly there's tremendous value to that, but it can be expensive. And I just wanted to build the relationships. And so what I did, one of the first things I did is I called the Greater East Dallas Chamber of Commerce and spoke with a guy there named Greg, and he was brand spanking new to the chamber at the time. And he had been there for 2 weeks, I believe. I said, Greg, got to come talk to you, open up my business here, join the chamber, I need to figure out what you have to offer. He said, okay, come on by. Went by there and said, all right, I need to do some networking. He said, well, wasn't really anything lined up. There was no real networking group in the chamber. And I said, well, that doesn't work for me.
You're a man of action.
Well, and he was looking to make some changes too. Okay. And so he kind of been thinking we needed some networking groups. And so he and I started what became East Dallas Networking a couple years later. We started that in September of 2008. And that first meeting we had 4 people in attendance. Including myself and Greg, the two co-founders.
Okay. So, would you happen to remember who the other 2 were?
I think I remember who one of them is, but I'm not terribly sure.
Okay.
Honestly, that was, and then we steadily grew, but it was very, very small. Attendance was small until really, I think the most we probably got in that form was we probably have roughly 20 in attendance.
Okay.
Maybe 25, and then when we signed up we got an account with meetup.com. We got on meetup.com, that's when our attendance really started to go through.
Okay,
yeah. Meetup.com helped a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's how I discovered the group. Mm-hmm. But when did it become East Dallas Networking?
It morphed a few times for various reasons. It became East Dallas Networking probably in late 2009, I would imagine. Had a few changes there, and change in leadership and all that. We sort of broke out on our own,
Mhm.
and it was the best decision we made, the best decision we ever made, and attendance just really blew up after that.
What were the initial struggles in trying to get it to grow? You said that the meetup helped.
Mm-hmm.
What was obviously it helped grow it immensely, but what were the initial challenges even after you jumped on meetup?
Well, I think that with any networking group, you have to have a great location. It's got to be convenient for folks. Also, the location is important because it affects the cost.
Yeah.
And we always had, and we continue to have a great venue, Highland Park Cafeteria. That wasn't much of a challenge, but what was a challenge was just getting the people there. And you have to have people who are committed, and you have to have good leadership. You got to have somebody who is or a team of people that are engaging and can bring people along, who are charismatic enough, and who people trust enough to bring them. And if everybody, when you're starting out a networking group, if everybody brings just one guest, then it will grow. I mean, it will just organically grow. And so, the challenge is getting people there. And then also, what's the structure of the group? Nothing against BNI. I used to be in a BNI.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. Where you're going?
I so desperate to build the practice in the beginning. I joined BNI. I joined several groups, and BNI was very, very effective to a certain degree, but rigid.
Yes.
You got rules. You got attendance requirements. It can be expensive. There is an expectation that you're going to be bringing referrals for everybody. And believe me, if I've got a referral for you, I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a rule. I promise you, I will give you a referral if I've got it for you.
That's where I struggled with it as well, because I tried it for a little while.
Sure. Well, what you find is that, you may be getting referrals that are just not qualified, or maybe not even a real referral to begin with.
They're forced to give it to you if they were going to meet the criteria of being in the group.
Right. So I think that one of the challenges is, how do you develop, what is your structure? And we have EDN, and we always have had, just very laid back. We've got a very firm, no spam, no cold call policy. We've got a policy that if you have a one-on-one, which we encourage, that's a great way to build relationships. If you have a one-on-one, don't use that as a sales call.
Yep.
It's not a sales opportunity. It's an opportunity to get to know somebody and their business and their family and so on. I mean, how can I help you build your business versus, hey, I've got the latest, greatest product or service out there.
Buy my stuff.
Nobody wants that. So, we have. When we started EDN, the challenges again with the structure and all that is we just made it real easy. Turn it into really the group that I would want to be a member of.
Right, that's a good vision.
Yeah, so it's worked out well for us.
How long has it been since it's skyrocketed? Where you average at least 50? What's the average?
Our average now, in fact, last night I went and took a look. This year we are averaging 63 in attendance every week.
Averaging 63. So I underestimated on my promotional material. I said 50 because I didn't have time to come to you and get that.
Don't sell us short.
Yeah,
I went back and I looked, and we have 63 in attendance this year. Last year, I don't know. I did not look at last year, but I'll bet you last year we probably averaged between 50 and 55 every week. And the neat thing about it is that nobody's required to be there.
That is the beautiful thing, and it's consistent every single week with no attendance requirements.
There are no attendance requirements. People are there because they want to be there, and they want to be there because the tagline I often use, it's fun, effective, and affordable.
Yep.
And if you've got those three things, people will show up all the time. And there's always an influx of newbies. You have to have the newbies. I mean, it's
keeps it fresh.
Well, because you're always going to have some people fall off, but if you have the new folks coming in, if you've got, I think we've had, in recent months, I think we've had as many as 11 newbies in the room, and I think we've had maybe as few as 2. We've always got somebody that's new to the group. Somebody's always going to stick around. You're not going to grab them all because it's got to be convenient for them. I mean, if they're coming in from Frisco, that may be a little bit difficult for them, but those newbies will always, some of them will always stick around.
They will. Can you give a couple of instances of some of the best success stories in the room from the group and from networking? Sure. I know of one specifically that I heard that was outlandish and kind of crazy, but very doable.
Yeah.
Which I think it was the
Which one did you hear? What was that?
the one which was he does home services.
Joe Moore.
Yes,
More
90%.
90%. So Joe had said that that 90% of his business had come from EDN, from that one group that meets 1 hour a week, every week without fail. Holidays, with the exception, of course. But that's huge. And he was doing okay beforehand.
Right.
He was doing okay beforehand. Other success stories. I mean, there are a lot of them. One of the guys that has been around for a long, long time has been very instrumental in building EDN, Jesse Simmons.
Oh, yes.
Jesse's AC and Appliance Service. I remember towards the end of his first full year in EDN, he had said that EDN had built his business by about 70%. About a 70% increase. And he was doing well beforehand. He was doing well before.
He does good work.
Another guy, and another guy that has been around for a good while, Mark Weber, Weber's Computer Services. He had grown about 50% just from EDN. There's another guy in the group. I recently touched base with him, and he said that every week he gets up and he wants to thank people during our testimonies. He wants to thank people. The list really is too long to thank. I mean, and when it becomes consistent that it's just about everybody in the room. But he says that he looks around the room. He says 60% of the people in the room are his clients.
Wow. Anybody?
Week in and week out.
Do I know him?
Mark Ramsey.
Oh, Mark. Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Because everybody needs his ink.
Yep.
And he gives them for great
ink and toner.
Incredible service.
And so these are big numbers. I mean, certainly not everybody's going to have numbers like that. But I tell the newbies when they show up, I said, if you want this to work for you, you got to show up. And in networking, and you've done enough of it that is you always want to be what's called top of mind.
Right.
The only way to do that is FaceTime. You got to show up. You got to pay to play. You have one-on-ones with folks. You build the relationships, and the business will come.
And that was my next question. Yeah. What were, in your opinion, for networking to really be effective, what would you recommend to anybody looking to do it or has done it and just hasn't got enough results out of it? Mm-hmm. What are some of your 3, 4, 5 tips you have for them?
Well, it's okay. So last week after our meeting, I was talking to a relatively new member of EDN, and he's been coming consistently. Maybe a month or so. And I encouraged him to join other groups. I said, you're brand spanking new in your business.
Get around.
Okay. The advice that I gave him is the advice that my attorney told me when I first opened up. He said, look, you've got more time than money right now.
Right.
You need to invest your time wisely. And it's absolutely true. And so, I encouraged him to go join more groups, but you got to get out there and you got to join the groups. You have to build a relationship. You got to show up. And I tell him, I said, I want you to have EDN in your fixed calendar. You may not make it every week, but try. At worst, show up every other week.
Right. Because
that is the only way that you're going to get that top of mind recognition there. And so you build the relationships with the people in the room. You get one-on-ones. You show up, that FaceTime there. But it's like if somebody is out there talking to their friends or family and oh, my back hurts, or whatever it may be, say, I know exactly who you need to talk to. I don't want anybody to think about it. Well, who do I know?
It's gonna be Chuck. It's gonna be his group. I've met him. I like him. Yeah. He seems like a good guy. I may have never even got a chiropractic session with a guy, but I know that he seems very trustworthy based on what everybody else is saying.
Well, all the testimonials.
Exactly.
I mean, when you've got 10 people say, thank you so much for the chiropractic adjustment, that's
gold.
That is fantastic. But for all those newbies, I mean, looking to network, you got to show up and you can't give up, and you got to work on your 30-second commercials. And one of the neat things about EDN, of course, is that it's always fun. We have a great time. It's if anything, it's therapeutic to show up. Okay, it's therapeutic to be there. You will laugh, okay?
When I first started showing up consistently, I just enjoyed showing up for the energy. Because back then I really was not making enough to make it. However, I was showing up. And when I left, I always felt energized.
Sure.
It was like a jolt of energy. So after that, and I'd be wired for a couple of days.
It is therapeutic. I have had people over the years, and we've been doing this for a while, I've had people come for a good while, not getting the business out of it that they think justifies them coming back. And they will tell me, I love all the people, but I'm just not getting your business out of it. And I said, that's fine. You come on back anytime. And they leave. a month, 6 weeks later, 2 months later, they come back and they'll say, I just missed everybody. but it's therapeutic like that. But for the newbies, I mean, you got to find groups that work for you. I think that anybody starting out should probably join 2 or 3 groups. If the time works for it, yeah. Yep. And you find the ones that work best for you. But work on your 30-second commercials. Again, EDN's a great place to do that. You come on in, and if you screw up your 30-second commercials, big deal. We all laugh and have. Yeah, we all do it. But you got to work it. Networking only works if you work it.
Right. For me, this is a personal story because this is why I relate to this story so much in this group and Chuck here. 6 months, I can say 6 to 8 months before I actually had anybody refer me or use me for their services. Mm-hmm. And I believe at the end of the day, it has to do with just human nature. It takes a while to generate and become friends with individuals and become a trusted resource for people, and before they start recommending you. So if you show up for a month or two and you're not really developing friendships and connections, then it's just an obvious sell, right. And people feel a little cold about it. With me, it took a while. But once they started coming in, the first few referrals, I never even did work for these individuals. They just trusted me at that point, that I started getting 1 or 2 new leads every week, consistently, based on the fact that they trusted me and they knew that at the very least, I would take care of them. Because, when you get a referral, that other individual wants to make sure they don't look bad.
Right.
So I think that's the reason it takes a while. But once it's done, and one of the biggest payoffs for me is when I'm not there, and I come back, or people will message me. They're like, there was another marketer in the group. Don't worry, we took care of them.
Yep.
They hold me in high regard, and they think of me. If even there's anybody else in the room, like, oh, that's not TV, so we're not going to be nice to them. Obviously, I don't recommend that they not be nice to them, but it's nice to be thought of that way. Like there was 2 guys here. One of them really wasn't cool, but the other one he's cool. He's going to be a regular. But they thought of me.
You stick around for a while, and everybody becomes friends, and everybody becomes family, and when you reach that point, you've got some loyalty. You've got some loyalty in the group, again, just building those relationships and all. It's maybe it was last week or the week before where I mentioned everybody that we've grown so much now that we're starting to have more often folks who are losing spouses and loved ones, and
that's true.
There are losses and everything, and we all get together and we'll write the card, and they'll get a card that's signed by 60-something people, and it's just a good family, folks. But that loyalty is, I would miss it terribly if anything happened to EDN. I really would.
What can you share the story of how we've been able to? Maybe we don't have to share a secret. It's totally up to you. We can edit this out. Of how we've been able to leverage the group and the work that we do for each other, the testimonials within the group, to help them online, to literally take that into the digital, and help amplify, even help you with your reviews.
Well, it's referrals are everything, and you want to work with somebody that you know and someone that you trust. These folks that keep coming around. You know them and you trust them. And it's like, Jesse, I give the guy the key to my house, and he goes and takes care of it. I'm not
as do many other people.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm not the least bit worried about it. But we are all very, very mindful. I will often tell folks in the room, I'm sure you've been there when I've done this, I'll remind them that they are the referral source for their friends and neighbors. Mm-hmm. Almost every patient I've got, every new patient I get, they've just moved to town or something. I'll tell them, look, I've got your mover, I've got your AC and appliance repair guy, I got your computer repair guy, I've got your acupuncture. I've got everybody lined up for it, and they're like, and they appreciate that. They want to know. Everybody wants a referral. You don't want to look in the yellow pages, right?
I'll get those calls as well now.
Yeah. So it's we all need to remember that we need to tell our friends and family, say, if you need something, you call me first. My brother-in-law, making a reference to Craigslist, he says it's Chuck's list. It's Chuck's, because they'll call me up and I've got somebody for them. But with respect to digital and all that, one of the things that I get a lot of business, I get a lot of referrals from the Facebook pages, the neighborhood pages.
That's right.
I get a lot of them. And I love that, and I give a lot of them too.
Yeah. Just a bunch of neighborhood pages out there in groups.
Yeah. So Facebook is I think very, very important, and we need to be joining our Facebook neighborhood pages or common interest pages and all that, because somebody's always popping up and say, hey, I need this or I need that, and then I'll always chime in. You need a caterer? I got a caterer for you, and I'll put it on there. I'll put their contact information. I'll talk about the relationship that I've had with them over the years and everything, and they'll always get a call.
Good referral.
No, listen. I mean, I'll say, look, so Go Girl Catering, Lisa Rotenberry. Somebody on the Lakewood Facebook page a couple weeks ago said they were having a birthday party for their daughter and they needed a caterer. And all these people were chiming in with their recommendations for caterers. And I chime in too. I said, look, I think they're all fantastic. I think they're all really good and worthy of calling. I said, but Lisa's done this, Lisa's done that. She's been a sponsor for Meaties Dallas. She's done all this kind of stuff, and she should be on your short list, and with all the contact information on there. But
damn good referral.
Well, but we all need to be doing that.
Yes.
I mean, it's
instead of just throwing the name out there.
The referral just doesn't have to be in person. I mean, take a moment to to write a few sentences about how wonderful they are. But Facebook, I get a lot from that. I get a lot from Nextdoor, Nextdoor.com, and then of course Yelp. I get a lot, and I don't even do a whole lot with Yelp, but I get a lot of calls.
But you've done enough.
People who are on Yelp. You've got great reviews on Google. You got great reviews on Yelp, and it's like. I like that. I mean, you build those relationships with folks, and you'll get the good reviews. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, one of the things I like to tell people as well is make sure you do good work, especially once you're networking, because once you start getting the referrals, if you don't do damn good work, that's going to bite you in the butt.
It will.
So that has to be the foundation of it all. Do good work and be mindful and respectful of anybody and everybody, or else, unfortunately, just as great as it can be when your name gets tossed around because you're a great individual with great company and great service, that same name is going to be tossed around in the negative side, the negative light. So make sure you do good work, because people are going to talk in the same way. It's actually probably going to travel much faster because it's a negative.
Well, and most of us will read a bad review.
Yeah. Well, and most of us will take. Well, more people, and I know this on my side of the business, more people will take time to leave a bad review. And more people will actually voice a bad review. Like on Facebook alone, they don't necessarily go to Yelp, but they'll make sure to share that on Facebook. It's the easiest way now to get in front of a few hundred friends, whereas before you'd call 5 or 6 people and be pissed off. Don't go to this Pizza Hut.
Sure.
Don't go to this Tom Thumb. They suck. They broke my eggs. Right. Now it's digital. Make sure you do good work, because otherwise your name's going to be out there. And especially within these networking groups, it's the very same thing. Word travels fast within our group, because that's the way it's designed, to make sure that we share great stories, testimonials. It's going to travel much faster if you don't do good work. So be mindful of that. Right. Definitely be careful. Yeah. Let me see here. What else do we have? Oh, what has been one of the biggest benefits of the group in terms of community?
It's I love how this group has evolved, and it really is. I know I mentioned earlier, sort of just organic growth and all that. When you start to bring in all these people who consistently show up, all these big personalities, big things happen. And the group, out of necessity, began. We built it simply because I needed business. I needed business.
Can you touch on that? How has it impacted your business?
Oh, good grief. I mean, it's. I have generations of referrals.
Wow.
I mean, so somebody who I got back in 2008 as a referral through EDN, they refer somebody, and they refer somebody, and so it's like the tree. It just branches out, and so it's. I mean, it networking built my practice, but I'll take it one step further. EDN largely built my practice, and it really has. Now I'll forever be indebted.
As I will.
But so yes, I mean, just a tremendous impact on my business. But EDN again began because we needed networking. I needed networking to build my practice. Greg needed networking because he knew that was going to be a great benefit to the chamber and to help build their membership. And it was. It has been successful in all of that. But what began solely as a business networking group has evolved, to your point, over the years, to something that I really did not envision when we first started, and that is community advocacy. We have so many people who have been around and been in the neighborhood for so long, supporting so many different groups and charities and such, that they're coming around and they're saying, this is a great group and all that. But what we did back in the first time we did this was in 2010. Each meeting, everybody pays $2. It's only $2. Okay?
Not very much at all.
That alone is significant for a networking group, but it's only $2. Half the money we collect every meeting goes to tip the wait staff. She takes great care of us, Linda. She takes wonderful care of us. And the remaining money we save up, and it pays nominal expenses throughout the year. At the end of the year, we got a little bit of money left over, and what we like to do is donate that to various East Dallas charities that are voted on by our members.
Right.
Okay. First year we did that, we had a little bit of money. It was $500, and that was donated to the White Rock Center of Hope, a fantastic organization here in East Dallas. But each year, as our membership grows, we have a little bit more money left over. Okay, and also what we started doing maybe three or 4 years ago is we started doing sponsorships, which really $120 for the calendar year, prorated throughout the year, and really what you're doing is you're paying your $2 in advance.
Right.
Okay, and then there's a little bit of extra money left over, and that gets donated to charities. Well, nobody makes money off of this, off the money that's paid there or collected there. So each year we've had a little bit more money and a little bit more and a little bit more. And so last year we donated, I believe it was $4,600.
Wow.
Okay. In all, we've donated $18,800 to various East Dallas charities. So it's the monetary gifts that we can give to these charities that are taking care, and they're all East Dallas.
Yes.
Very much East Dallas. Yep. But they are taking care of our friends and neighbors in need. We also have the opportunity to when these organizations need some man hours, and they need some help, they need some sweat equity, they will call on us. And we've painted apartments. We have, for Exodus Ministries, we've gone and painted an apartment. We brought donations of rugs and clothing and things like that. White Rock Center of Hope, of course, when they need help with their food drives, we're helping out with that. So we've just, again, what began as a business networking group has really evolved into community advocacy as well. The local schools, when they have their career days, they're always calling on us. But I love what we have become. It has just been just outstanding.
I think in addition to that, and my girlfriend came to the group the other day, and she was blown away. She's from the nonprofit world,
right?
And she was blown away by the group. She was blown away by the energy. She was like amazed. And then on top of that, when she heard where some of that money goes to, like she almost balled up. She's that passionate about giving back to the community, and to know that this group who helped grow my business is also doing something to impact the people in the community. She was like, oh my goodness, this group is amazing, and it's incredible.
Well, if you want to help and if you want to change the world, you start with the person right next to you, and then that's what we do. That's what we do, and I love it.
We'll start wrapping it up here. I know it's getting it's starting to push 30 minutes. Yep, beautiful. Now, I did also want to note that East Dallas young professionals, now you've become somewhat of a mentor to other groups that come to you. How's that working out? It's
great. It's just because we've had great success with EDN doesn't mean that it's easy to start another networking group. The folks over at the Greater East Dallas Chamber of Commerce, we've got an East Dallas Young Professionals, EDYP group. Carolyn Sams is really sort of spearheading that group. And it's I think that now that she's kind of gotten into EDN, and we're making the connections there that, hey, anybody under 40, you need to go talk to Carolyn, and they do it. I think the first day she was there, she had 12 people approach her. And so with their lunch and learns and things like that.
It's a good feeder system.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's, it takes time, it takes investment, it's a lot of work to get it started, but boy, the benefits are tremendous.
And the last question, where do you see yourself, or where do you see EDN in a couple of years?
Yeah. That is probably the toughest question, truthfully, because, and I do think about it a fair amount. We really can't love the location. Highland Park Cafeteria and Jeff Snoyer have been just fantastic to
Great
us.
Hosts.
So if I love the location, we don't really want to move. There's no other place around that can handle that many people. If you got an average of 63 people every week, it's a cafeteria, so the folks who want to eat go through line beforehand and get their food. So we can't really grow in terms of numbers. I think that where we're going to be, again, we'll be celebrating 10 years.
Wow.
In 2.5 years, we'll be celebrating 10 years. So where do I want to be in 2 to 3 years? Well,
that's
I think
right at that 10 years.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think our attendance will be roughly about the same. It's because you can't really comfortably fit many more people in there. So I think our attendance will be about the same. I don't, what I would like to do is find ways to generate more money for the charities. That is a feel-good story every time, and people love to know that their money isn't going in my pocket or anybody else's pocket. Their money is going to help out our friends and neighbors in need. So I would like to find a way to...
I'll be thinking about that.
I'd like to find a way to generate more money, but I don't want to, again, it is a business networking group, and we just happen to do great things in the community.
With a couple of bucks a day.
Right, exactly. And so I think that, if we could find ways to generate more money for the charities, I think that would be fantastic. I think really what I would like to be is, and we already are to a certain degree, we are really the go-to group for these organizations that need some help. We're also becoming if we're not already, the go-to group for these small business owners, these mom and pop organizations here in East Dallas. We're not Las Colinas, we're not downtown Dallas. East Dallas is largely, your sole proprietors, your mom and pops, and people, doing business out of their garages. But they are hearing about us, and they're coming to us, say, how do I, much like I went to Greg, how do I build my business through networking? Yeah. And so now we're starting to get a lot of those newbies coming in and say, how do I do this? All right, that's right. So I would like to just sort of continue our recognition in the community.
Good. I'm fully on board. If you need any help, let me know. I'll be thinking of ideas as to how to make that happen. But thank you for your time.
Well, this is great.
I appreciate it. Hopefully people were able to take away a few nuggets of information, how they can implement networking into the mix, or if they're doing it and they don't see the results, and maybe they know why, because they've heard of what they may have done or haven't committed enough time and resources to it. But if you start off and you don't have much money, you have time. You have plenty of time, right?
Yeah, more time than money.
More time than money. I know that was true for me. Now I spend a good fair amount on advertising for myself, because I produce enough results and revenue for my business. But when I started, I had a bunch of time and not enough clients to fill with time. So I showed up, and here we are today. Thank you again. I appreciate it. And to my audience, I look forward to sharing the next one with you. But until then, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Or is it this is new for me, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe wherever, share it. East Dallas Networking, if you're listening, you better share this video of Chuck's blue eyes and his audio as well. Y'all take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.